The war had lasted 17 years. Billions had died on both sides. Planets that once held great cities were now nothing but ash and dust. The Valari Empire and the Terran Confederation had fought until neither side could fight anymore. Princess Yuna stood in the Great Hall of the Galactic Council. Her silver skin glowed softly under the bright lights. Her dark purple eyes looked at the humans standing across from her. She hated them. Her brother had died fighting them. Her cousins. Her friends. So many Valari had fallen to human weapons, but today was not about hate. Today was about peace. The treaty had been signed 3 days ago. Trade would resume. Prisoners would return home. The killing would stop. But there was one final condition. A marriage. A union between the two species to seal the peace forever. Yuna had agreed to be the bride. She was not happy about it. She was a princess of the oldest Valari bloodline. She had trained as a warrior since childhood. She had led soldiers into battle. And now she would marry a human. The thought made her stomach turn down. Her advisor, an old Valari named Bora, stood beside her. He leaned close and whispered, "They are bringing him now. Your future husband." Yuna straightened her back. She would face this with dignity. She expected the humans to send someone important. A general who had won great battles. A politician with power and influence. Someone worthy of a princess. The doors opened. A man walked in. He was alone. No guards, no servants, no ceremony. He was average in every way. Medium height. Black hair cut short. A plain face that would disappear in any crowd. He wore simple gray clothes with no medals or decorations. His eyes were dark brown, and they looked tired. So very tired. Yuna felt anger rise in her chest. This was an insult. This nobody was supposed to be her husband? Who is this? She demanded. The Terran ambassador, a smiling woman with red hair, stepped forward. "This is Taiho. He will be your husband." "He has no rank," Bora said sharply. "No title. No status. You sent a common man to marry our princess?" The ambassador's smile did not fade. "He volunteered. Volunteered." Yuna looked at the man called Taiho. He stood quietly, his hands folded in front of him. He did not seem nervous or excited. He simply waited. "Many humans wanted this honor," the ambassador said. "Generals, senators, wealthy families offered their sons. But the council chose Taiho because he asked for it himself." "Why would you ask for this?" Yuna spoke directly to the man for the first time. Taiho met her eyes. His voice was soft and calm. "Because I wanted to." That was all he said. No explanation. No pretty words. Just simple truth. The wedding happened that same day. It was a cold ceremony. Officials read legal documents. Both sides signed papers. Yuna and Taiho exchanged vows in both languages. He spoke Valari perfectly, which surprised her. Most humans could not pronounce their words correctly. When it was done, they were husband and wife. There was no celebration. No feast, no music or dancing. This was not a love match. It was politics. Everyone knew it. That night, Yuna and Taiho were taken to their shared quarters on a diplomatic ship. The room was large and comfortable. A big bed stood in the center. Soft chairs faced a window that showed the stars outside. Yuna stood by the window, looking out at the darkness. She heard Taiho moving behind her. When she turned, she saw him placing a blanket on the floor near the wall. "What are you doing?" she asked. "Making my bed," he said simply. "The bed is there." She pointed at the large bed. "That is your bed. I will sleep here." Yuna did not know what to say. She had expected many things from a human husband. She had prepared herself for demands, for arrogance, for cruelty. She had not prepared for this. "You do not have to sleep on the floor," she said. Tae-ho looked at her. Those tired eyes held no anger or resentment. "You did not choose this marriage. I will not make it harder than it needs to be. When you are comfortable with me, things can change. Until then, I will sleep here." He lay down on the blanket and closed his eyes. Yuna stood there for a long time, watching him. He fell asleep quickly, his breathing slow and steady. He looked peaceful, almost innocent. She walked to the large bed and sat on the edge. Her mind was full of questions. Who was this man? Why had he volunteered for this duty? What did he want from her? She thought about her brother, killed by human soldiers 5 years ago. She thought about her hatred for this species. But looking at the quiet man sleeping on her floor, she felt that hatred weakened just a little. He was not what she expected. Yuna lay down on the soft bed. It was warm and comfortable. She felt guilty for a moment, knowing he was on the cold floor. But she pushed that feeling away. He was human. He was the enemy. Or he had been the enemy. Now he was her husband. She closed her eyes and tried to sleep. Tomorrow would begin her new life. A life tied to this strange, quiet man who slept on floors and spoke in soft words. She did not know what the future would bring. But as she drifted towards sleep, she realized something surprising. She was curious about him, and that was the most unexpected thing of all. 3 months passed. Yuna learned many things about her human husband. Tae-ho woke every day before the sun rose. Not that there was a sun on the space station where they lived, but the lights followed a cycle. When the corridors were still dark, Tae-ho was already awake. She watched him sometimes from her bed. He would stand in the center of the room and move his body in slow, careful ways. His arms flowed like water. His legs shifted like roots growing into the ground. Each movement was perfect and controlled. He did this for 2 hours every morning without fail. At first, Yuna thought it was exercise. But it seemed like something more, something deeper. Like a prayer made with the body instead of words. After his morning movements, Tae-ho would make tea. He had learned to prepare Valari tea exactly the way she liked it. He would leave a cup beside her bed without waking her. By the time she opened her eyes, the tea was always the perfect temperature. He ate little. Rice and vegetables mostly. Sometimes fish. He never complained about the food, even when the Valari cooks made mistakes with human dishes. He read constantly. Books about Valari history, engineering manuals, poetry from a dozen different species. He could sit for hours without moving, his eyes traveling across pages. Yuna would sometimes enter a room and forget he was there because he was so still and quiet. The servants loved him. This surprised Yuna the most. Valari servants were taught to fear their masters, but they smiled when Tae-ho was near. He learned all their names. He thanked them for every small thing they did. When one servant dropped a tray of dishes, Tae-ho helped her clean it up himself. "He is strange," Bora told Yuna one day. "I have never seen a human like him." "Neither have I," Yuna admitted. She found herself watching Tae-ho more and more. Not with suspicion, but with curiosity. He was like a puzzle she could not solve. One evening, they sat together in their quarters. Tae-ho was preparing tea again, his movements precise and graceful. Yuna watched his hands. They were ordinary hands. No scars, no calluses. The hands of someone who had never worked hard or fought in battles. "What did you do before this?" she asked suddenly. Tae-ho did not stop his work. "I worked for the Confederation." "Doing what?" He paused for just a moment. "Problem solving. That tells me nothing. I know." Yuna felt frustration rise in her chest. "Were you a soldier?" "You move like someone who was trained for combat." Tae-ho set down the teapot. He turned to look at her. His tired eyes held something she could not name. Pain, perhaps. or memory. I was many things, he said softly. None of them worth discussing. I am your wife. I deserve to know who you are. You know who I am now. The past is finished. The past made you who you are. Taiho was quiet for a long moment. Then he picked up the teapot again and poured 2 cups. When I was young, he said slowly, I did things I am not proud of. I hurt people. I followed orders without question. I was very good at my job. He handed her a cup of tea. Then one day, I decided I did not want to be that person anymore. I wanted to be something else. Someone else. This marriage gave me that chance. Yuna held the warm cup in her hands. You are running from your past. No, I am walking toward a different future. She did not push further that night, but the questions remained in her mind. What had he done? What orders had he followed? What kind of work made a man look so tired and sad? Days turned into weeks. Yuna noticed other things about Taiho. He never raised his voice. He never showed anger. He never touched her without permission, not even to shake hands. He gave her space and privacy. He respected her boundaries. And slowly, without realizing it, Yuna began to trust him. She stopped pretending to be asleep when he made morning tea. She would sit up and thank him. Sometimes they would drink together in comfortable silence, watching the stars through the window. She started asking him about the books he read. He would explain ideas and stories with patience. He never made her feel stupid for not knowing things. One night, she laughed at something he said. It was the first time she had laughed since the wedding. Taiho looked at her with surprise, and then he smiled. It was a small smile, barely there, but it changed his whole face. He was almost handsome when he smiled. Yuna quickly pushed that thought away. He was human. This was a political marriage. She should not think such things, but as she lay in bed that night, she admitted the truth to herself. She had stopped hating him. She might even like him a little. Her husband was kind and gentle and strange. He was hiding a dark past that he would not share. He was a mystery wrapped in simple clothes and soft words. And then the Korvax attacked, and Yuna learned the truth about the quiet man she had married. The truth would change everything. The Korvax Dominion had watched the peace treaty with angry eyes. They were a warrior species. They lived for conquest. The idea of humans and Valari working together scared them deeply. A united human-Valari alliance would be too strong. It would stop Korvax expansion. It would end their dreams of empire. So they made a plan. Kill the treaty bride and her husband. Blame it on rebels. Watch the two species go back to war with each other. It was a simple plan. And it almost worked. Yuna and Taiho were visiting a border station. It was a diplomatic tour, meant to show unity between their peoples. Local officials greeted them with smiles and gifts. There were meetings and speeches and formal dinners. On the third day, Korvax warships appeared. 3 massive vessels dropped out of hyperspace without warning. They fired on the station's defenses before anyone could react. Then they launched dropships. Thousands of Korvax soldiers poured into the station. Yuna heard the alarms first. Then came the screaming. Then the sound of plasma weapons firing in the corridors outside. "We are under attack," Bora shouted. He grabbed Yuna's arm. "We must get to the emergency shuttles." The Valari guards formed a circle around them. 10 soldiers, armed and ready. They began moving through the corridors, heading for the shuttle bay. They did not get far. Korvax soldiers blocked their path. Big creatures with gray skin and 4 arms. Each arm held a weapon. They moved fast and shot faster. The first 3 Valari guards died before they could fire a single shot. "Back! Go back!" Bora screamed. They ran. More Korvax appeared behind them. They were trapped. Plasma bolts flew through the air. Another guard fell. Then another Una pulled out her ceremonial pistol. It was small and not meant for real combat, but it was all she had. She fired at the advancing enemies. One Korvax fell, but more kept coming. They reached a large room, some kind of meeting hall. Tables and chairs scattered across the floor. The remaining guards pushed tables over to create cover. Here, get down. A guard shouted. Una dropped behind a table. Bora was beside her, breathing hard. His whole body was not made for running. She counted their people. Only 4 guards left, all of them wounded. Their ammunition was running low. The Korvax surrounded the room. 20 of them. Then 30. They moved closer, weapons ready. They were taking their time now. They knew their prey was trapped. Una checked her pistol. 3 shots left. It has been an honor, Princess, Bora said quietly. Una did not answer. She was looking around the room, searching for Taiho. Where was her husband? She found him. He was standing. Not behind cover. Not hiding. Standing in the open, facing the Korvax soldiers. His hands hung loose at his sides. His face showed no fear. No worry. Only calm. Complete and absolute calm. Taiho. Una screamed. Get down. He did not move. He did not even look at her. Stay there, he said. His voice was soft, but somehow she heard it clearly over all the noise. Do not watch if you can help it. Then he moved. Una had seen fast things before. She had seen racing ships and striking snakes and falling stars. None of them moved like Taiho moved. He flowed toward the Korvax line like water rushing downhill. His body bent and twisted in ways that seemed impossible. The first soldier tried to shoot him. Taiho was not there anymore. He was beside the soldier, then behind him. His hand touched the soldier's neck. Just a touch. The soldier dropped dead. The next soldier swung a blade. Taiho caught the arm, twisted it, and used the soldier's own weapon to cut through 3 of his companions. Bodies fell in pieces. A Korvax fired point blank. Taiho had already moved. He was behind the shooter now. His fingers pressed into the creature's skull. Something cracked. Another body fell. 12 seconds. That was all it took. 20 Korvax soldiers lay dead on the floor. Taiho stood among them without a scratch, without heavy breathing, without any sign that he had just killed 20 enemies with his bare hands. More Korvax poured into the room. 40, 50. They came through every door. Taiho walked toward them. He picked up a fallen rifle. Now he moved even faster. The weapon fired in perfect rhythm, each shot killing a target. When enemies got close, his free hand found throats and joints and soft places. Bodies flew through the air. Blood sprayed across walls. Una watched in horror. And in wonder. This was not fighting. This was art. Terrible and beautiful art. A Korvax commander screamed orders. His soldiers tried to retreat. Taiho did not let them. He followed them into the corridors. Una heard screaming, gunfire, then silence, then more screaming from somewhere else. Then more silence. It lasted for an hour. Maybe longer. Una lost track of time. She sat behind that table, holding her empty pistol, listening to her husband work. When he finally returned, he was covered in blood. None of it was his. He sat down against a wall and began cleaning his hands with a piece of cloth. His eyes were distant, empty. What are you? Una whispered. Taiho looked at her. For the first time since she had known him, she saw pain in his tired eyes. I am what I was made to be, he said softly. I'm sorry you had to see it. The station was quiet now. No more gunfire. No more screaming. Only the soft hum of machines keeping the lights on and the air clean. Una walked through the corridors in a daze. Her feet moved without thought. Her eyes saw things her mind could not accept. Bodies. So many bodies. Korvax soldiers lay everywhere. Some had been shot. Some had been cut. Many had been killed with bare hands. Necks bent at wrong angles. Chests caved in. Skulls cracked like eggs. Hundreds of them. All dead. All killed by one man. She found Taiho in the main corridor near the shuttle bay. He sat against the wall, his gray clothes now dark with blood. A rifle lay beside him, its ammunition empty. His hands were still. His eyes stared at nothing. Yuna stood before him. She did not know what to feel. Fear? Gratitude? Horror? All of these things mixed together in her chest. "Who are you?" she asked again. Her voice shook. Taiho was silent for a long moment. Then he began to speak. "The Terran Confederation has a secret program," he said. His voice was flat and tired. "They call us ghosts. We are taken as children. Those who show certain abilities are selected. We are trained, modified, changed. Modified how? Our bones are made stronger. Our muscles are enhanced. Our reflexes are pushed beyond normal limits. Our brains are taught to process information faster than any computer." He held up his hand and looked at it. "We become weapons. Living weapons that look like ordinary people." Yuna felt cold. "How many of you are there?" "Maybe 200 in existence. We work alone, usually. One ghost can do what an army cannot." The truth of what she had seen began to sink in. This quiet man who made tea and read poetry was a living weapon. A killer designed from childhood to destroy. "The war," she said slowly. "Our war. Your people have soldiers like you. 200 soldiers who can each kill hundreds alone." The math was terrible. "You could have destroyed us completely." Taiho nodded. "Yes, then why make peace? Why not just send your ghost to finish us?" He finally looked at her. His tired eyes held deep sadness. Because the Council knew what would happen. They knew that if ghosts were deployed in open war, the Valari would be exterminated. Every planet. Every colony. Every man, woman, and child. He paused. Some in the Council wanted that. They wanted revenge for all the humans who died. But others said no. They said enough blood had been spilled. Yuna's legs felt weak. She sat down on the floor across from him. "The peace treaty was not mercy for humanity," she said quietly. "It was mercy for us. Yes." She thought about all her hatred. All her anger at the humans who had killed her brother and her friends. She had seen them as enemies. As monsters. She had never considered that they were holding back something far worse. "Why did you volunteer for this marriage?" she asked. "You could be anywhere. Doing anything. Why choose to be a diplomat's husband?" Taiho was quiet for a long time. When he spoke, his voice was barely a whisper. "Because I am tired." "Tired of what?" "Everything." He closed his eyes. "I have killed more people than I can count. I have destroyed lives without knowing their names. I have followed orders for 30 years without question. And one day, I looked in the mirror and did not recognize the thing looking back at me." His hands trembled slightly. The first sign of emotion she had ever seen from him. "When they offered the marriage assignment, I saw something else. A chance to be different. To be a husband instead of a killer. A diplomat instead of a weapon. Maybe even something like a normal person someday." He laughed bitterly. "I suppose tonight proved that is impossible. I will always be what they made me." Yuna looked at the bodies around them. At the blood on his clothes. At the destruction he had caused with his own hands. Then she looked at his face. At the pain there. At the weariness. At the desperate hope that maybe, somehow, he could be something more than a monster. She crawled across the floor to sit beside him. He watched her with surprise. "You saved my life," she said. You saved everyone on this station. Hundreds of civilians, families, children. They lived because of what you did. I killed 300 beings tonight. Beings who came to murder us. Beings who would have killed everyone and started a new war. She reached out and took his bloodied hand in hers. You are not just a weapon, Taiho. You chose to protect us. That choice matters. He stared at their joined hands. His breath caught in his throat. You should be afraid of me, he said. You saw what I can do. I saw you save me. I saw you fight for us. I saw you feel pain for the lives you took. She squeezed his hand. Monsters do not feel pain. Monsters do not cry for their victims. But you do. A single tear rolled down his cheek. Then another. This weapon, this ghost, this killer of hundreds, sat on a bloody floor and wept. Yuna held his hand through all of it. She did not let go. I do not understand you yet, she said softly. But I want to. Will you let me try? Taiho looked at her with eyes full of broken hope. Yes, he whispered. I will let you try. Outside, rescue ships were coming. Help was on the way. But in that corridor, surrounded by death, something new was being born. Not love. Not yet, but the beginning of something real. And that was enough for now. The news spread across the galaxy like fire. 3 Korvax warships. 2,000 soldiers. A full invasion force sent to kill 2 diplomats and restart a war. 1 human had stopped them all. The Galactic Council demanded answers. How was this possible? What were humans really capable of? What had they been hiding all these years? The Terran Confederation could no longer keep their secret. They revealed the Ghost program to the public. Not everything, but enough. Enough to make every species in known space afraid. Humans looked weak. They had no natural weapons. No claws or fangs or armored skin. They were small and soft and fragile. Every other species had looked at them and seen prey. Now they understood the truth. Humans were the most dangerous predators in the galaxy. They just hid it well. The Korvax Dominion sent a formal apology within 1 week. Their leaders begged for peace. They promised to never threaten the Human-Valari alliance again. Several other hostile powers quietly abandoned their expansion plans. Species that had planned to attack human colonies suddenly found reasons to negotiate instead, and everyone wanted to join the alliance. Within a month, 10 new species requested membership in the Human-Valari Union. Within a year, that number grew to 50. Peace spread across the galaxy faster than anyone had expected. That it turned out that peace was easier when everyone understood the alternative. Yuna stood on the observation deck of their new embassy ship. The stars stretched out before her, beautiful and endless. She had seen these same stars all her life, but they looked different now. Brighter, somehow. More hopeful. Taiho stood beside her. He was close enough that their shoulders almost touched. In the months since the attack, he had changed. He smiled more often. He spoke more freely. The terrible weight he carried seemed a little lighter. My grandmother called me today, Yuna said. The one who wanted to execute all human prisoners during the war? That same one. Yuna smiled. She said she approved of my husband. Taiho raised an eyebrow. After everything she said about humans? She changed her mind. She said any man who could kill 300 enemies with his bare hands was worthy of Valari royalty. Yuna laughed softly. She also said I should give you many children to strengthen the bloodline. Taiho's calm expression cracked. He looked almost embarrassed. It was a very human expression, and it made Yuna's heart warm. I told her we were taking things slowly, Yuna continued. But I also told her something else. What? She turned to face him. In the soft light of the stars, his tired eyes looked peaceful. Happy, even. I told her that I was beginning to understand why you volunteered for this marriage, and that perhaps it was becoming more than just politics. Taiho's breath caught. Yuna. She reached up and touched his face gently. His skin was warm under her silver fingers. You spent your whole life being a weapon for others, she said. Perhaps it is time someone cared for you instead. Protected you. Even if you do not need protection, you cannot protect me. I am dangerous? Deadly? A living weapon? She smiled. Yes, you are all of those things. But you are also kind, patient, gentle. You make perfect tea and read poetry and remember every servant's name. She stepped closer to him. You are more than what they made you, Taiho. Much more. She kissed him. It was a soft kiss. Brief and gentle. A question more than a statement. When she pulled back, Taiho looked at her with wonder. This man who could destroy armies, who had killed more than he could count, who had been trained since childhood to feel nothing, looked at her like she was the most precious thing in the universe. I never thought I would have this, he said quietly. A life. A home. Someone who sees me as more than a weapon. Everyone deserves that, Yuna said. Even you. Especially you. 10 years passed. The Human-Valari alliance grew into the largest peaceful union in galactic history. Trade flourished. Wars ended. Species that had fought for centuries found ways to work together. Yuna became a leader in the Alliance Council. She gave speeches about peace and unity. She negotiated treaties and resolved disputes. She became a symbol of what was possible when former enemies chose to work together. And always, Taiho stood beside her. He never became a public figure. He preferred to stay in the background, supporting Yuna from the shadows. But everyone knew who he was. The ghost. The one who had shown the galaxy what humans could really do. They had 2 children, twins. A boy with his mother's silver skin and his father's watchful eyes. A girl with human features and her mother's fierce spirit. Taiho taught them both the morning movements he practiced every day. Yuna taught them Valari poetry and history. They were a family. A real family. Something Taiho had never thought he would have done. One night, Yuna found him standing by the window of their quarters. He was watching the children sleep, a soft smile on his face. What are you thinking? She asked, coming to stand beside him. I am thinking about how strange life is, he said. I was made to destroy, to kill, to be a weapon and nothing more. And now, he gestured at the sleeping children. Now I have this. A wife who loves me. Children who call me father. A life worth living. Yuna took his hand. You chose this, she said. You chose to be more than what they made you. Every day, you choose again. That is what makes you human. Not your body or your abilities. Your choices. Taiho pulled her close and held her. Thank you, he whispered into her hair. For seeing me. For choosing me. For giving me this life. Thank you for saving mine, she whispered back. And for showing me that peace is possible. Even between old enemies. Outside their window, the stars burned eternal. Somewhere in the galaxy, there was still war and pain and suffering. But in this room, in this moment, there was only love. The weapon had found his purpose. The princess had found her partner. And together, they had helped build a galaxy where peace was more than just a dream. It was a life beyond what either of them had ever imagined. And it was only the beginning.